So in this video, we're going to take a look at the brand new lineup for Ping 2025 G440. We've got 3 heads. We're going to hit all 3 in this particular video. We're going to delve deep into the technology that Ping are offering. There's some little different talking points from already a very successful G430 lineup. It's going to be really interesting to see how this performs. Okay, so probably arguably the most popular driver of 2024 was the G430. Hugely popular, very stable, very straight home, but maybe not the longest in terms of other brands out there in terms of off the club face. So Ping have done some work with that. This is now more aerodynamic, faster off the face, and a better sound, which is probably one of the biggest sticking points maybe we saw, especially from G425, which was pretty loud. G430 was better. Apparently this is better. Again, we're going to see that in this video. 3 heads, as always. We've got the Max, which is probably the biggest option for most golfers. Movable weight at the back. We can put that heel, toe, or central. We then got the SFT, so straight flight technology, more for draw biased for anybody who's trying to fight that sort of slice. And then of course we've got the LST, low spin technology, for the faster club head speed player who's trying to maybe get that spin down a little bit. So just asking a favour if possible, if you join the videos and you haven't subscribed, just take a second, hit that subscribe button at the bottom. Really appreciate it. It helps me a lot on YouTube, and hopefully you will see more videos coming your way from myself on club reviews and club comparisons. Okay, so let's just run through first initial looks of the driver. Obviously off the sole of the golf club here, it looks just typically a Ping driver. Different colourway now, we've got some blue in there, just Ping logo in there, so nothing untoward or wackily different here. We look at the face, looks very, very sort of similar. There's some differences here which we're going to run through. Top of the club, again, turbulators do stay. So if you're not a fan of those, I know not a lot of people are, then, you know, maybe that's not great news for you. I don't mind them personally. It sort of frames the ball, but they are still there. We've definitely got this carbon look coming through all 3 heads now in this model. So this is the carbon wrap. Again, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Initial looks down in that playing position, again, it's just a very Ping driver. And I think I'm pleased with that in a way, because G430 was really popular. So, you know, it's why fix it when it's not broken? Some subtle little changes here. So I'm glad Ping haven't gone massively away from what they've done previously. And to be honest, as a company, they don't really typically do that very, very often. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Max. So into that playing position with the Max, it sits really square, which I do like. I always say that when I sit a club down, it's always got to just sit right for me, and that definitely sits in that right position. Obviously we've got neck sleeve there where we can dial that loft up and down. That will just subtly change that face angle if you needed to, but as a neutral setting it does sit very square. Got the carbon coming through on that back 2/3 of the crown with the solid matte black front section into that black face. Again, turbulators there. Oh, that's a solid hit, and that does sound good. It's got a bit of that Ping sound to it, but I don't feel that. I mean, that's on the first shot. I'm going to hit a few more, obviously, but that wasn't very intrusive on that loudness off the club face. Interesting. You know, just comments and feedback from the G430, especially G425, was the sound. You know, some golfers were put off. It performed incredibly well, but the sound was a little bit too loud. So I think if they can make some improvements on that, that's got to be a good thing. Oh, it's good flight. Nice flight. Good launch. Yeah, spins a little bit high. Strike was just a touch low in the club face, but again, very straight. This is a good thing with Ping. Gives you that confidence, that stability. You know, we've got this big 29-gram weight at the back of the golf club here. That can be moved into that draw or fade. I've got it set in that neutral position. So really, if you get a little bit of a heel strike, it might be just more beneficial to move that into that heel a little bit, to put a bit more mass behind your strike pattern to increase your ball speed a little bit. So going back to what we were sort of saying, G430, very, very stable. I hope that hasn't changed. It doesn't seem like it has done in the Ping. If you can get a bit more speed out of it, fantastic. That would be a great addition, I think, to this particular driver. And what Ping have done to help with that is they've shallowed off the club face a little bit. So increasing that a little bit more of that aerodynamics, less drag, all that sort of thing, and made the face a little bit hotter in terms of that ball speed across it. So hopefully we're getting a little bit more of that speed off the club face. Oh, it's a great strike. Just tweaked up the left a little bit. What a flight that is, though. Okay, so good carry there, good ball speed, decent numbers there, good launch for me as well. So going back to this sound, very, very important here. Now obviously we've now got this carbon wrap that we've seen in the LST, in the G430, now coming into the Max and also in the SFT. So that carbon wrap that goes all around just on the sides of the drive, up over the crown and to the other side. Obviously that gives it that weight save and we can redistribute this, nearly said that. The CG location is as far down and forward as Ping have ever done in a driver, so again helping maybe with that sort of ball speed. But they've also done some internal rib work here, which is basically breaking up sound waves just to be a little bit more muted on that sound. Oh, it's a little bit low, but that is so straight. That's one of those where I know that's probably not going to be the longest of shots. That spin might just go up. Yeah, see, that spin just creeps up a tiny bit. I've backed off a little bit of yardage, but do you know what? You take that all day long on that golf course. That is down the middle of the fairway. So for me personally, I could quite easily gain that Max. I tend to gravitate more to the LST sort of version in the Ping, but I could, you know, that sits incredibly square. I love the fact that I've got a bit more forgiveness in that, and it feels like I could just let it go and have that bit more confidence with the driver, which is huge for us as golfers. Again, that isn't perfect, but that is straight down the middle. Really, really liking that. I like the sound of that as well. Definitely some improvements on that sound. See, that's low toe, again, spinning up a little bit more. So another huge change they've made inside of these three drivers is a free hosel design, is what they're calling it. So basically they've taken weight out of that hosel of the club, where the neck sleeve goes into the driver head. They've taken some weight out of there and they've redistributed that again with the help of that carbon crown. Excess weight, they can shove that CG location down and forward, as we mentioned before, and it also gives us a slight higher profile in this heel section of the club with a little bit more flexing in that part of the club. So anything on that heel side just helps to keep that ball speed up. Typically a dead part of the golf club, when you hit that heel, we generally see that weak fadey one to the right, we lose a lot of distance. So get some more flexing out of that heel miss, potentially those bad ones can come a little bit better. All right, let's really test that forgiveness. That was a high toe, definitely off that toe of the golf club. Felt that bit of give in that club, but look at that accuracy really with that particular shot. Yeah, ball speed is obviously going to take a little bit of a hit, but it's done all right. It's a bad one, hasn't it? Obviously, it's a 460cc in the Max, and availability-wise, and this is a 9, a 10.5, and a 12 degree, obviously available right and left hand. Okay, so we're going to move now into the SFT, so Straight Flight Technology is what that stands for. So basically, if you're a golfer, as a right-handed golfer, you struggle with that slice, this could be a great option. It works really, really well, as done in previous models. So we've got this 23 gram now weight at the back of the club, is moving either from draw to draw plus, depending on how much help you want in terms of getting that club face closed up. We've got obviously adjustability to the neck sleeve, as we've seen, and if we go up in loft, it's going to slightly close that face. If you're really struggling, you've got options in the neck sleeve as well to help you in that position. And in that playing position there, again, it's like the Max, it's a large profile. We're seeing that carbon wrap kicking in, turbulators, and to be honest, this sits just a fraction toed in, but nothing aggressive. So if you don't like to see that club face toed in, then this is going to sit really quite nice. Again, if we up the loft, that will slightly shut that face as an appearance in that address position, but initially looks really good behind that golf ball. Now it's a 460cc head, so again, maximum forgiveness is what Ping is talking about here. All the same technology we've just run through in terms of the Max is going to apply into the SFT as well. But with that weight in that draw plus setting, Ping is saying this gives up to 20 yards of draw bias through your ball flight. So can be a real sort of benefit if you're struggling to square that club face up. Now, availability wise in this SFT head, a little bit more limited, is a 9 degree and a 10.5 only. Again, both right and left handed. But if you're in a 10.5, you need more loft and you're a little bit of a slice of the ball. Again, going up in loft, and that neck sleeve up to 1.5 degrees will take you up to 12 degrees, but obviously more of a closed face to help you on that. Okay, so that batch of shots there typically have moved like that has. That's probably a little bit more aggressive, to be honest, but they've definitely moved up that left-hand side. So I've got that on draw plus, definitely giving it maximum draw. I don't really need a help on that, to be honest, of that left miss, but definitely moving it in that direction. Okay, and finally moving into the LST, low spin technology. So definitely, as we've seen in previous models, we see a more compact head. It's a 450cc head, so a touch smaller, but then made a little bit more sort of compact in its look. So as you put that down by the ball, it just looks a little bit more squat from heel to toe and a touch more squat from that front to back. Just a little bit more of a knee to look maybe down by that golf ball. It sits incredibly square, again, as you expect from this type of driver. Very sort of similar on the look, you know, the carbon fly wrap. The face is very sort of similar, all the same sort of technology we've got in the previous models. And again, that tungsten weight at the back is 29 grams, same as the Max. We've got neutral, draw and fade, so some adjustability to that weight at the back to help with strike patterns as we talked about before. Boy, that's a good strike. Just working a fraction up that left. Felt very solid, that. A different sound again, maybe a little bit more muted again, actually, to be honest with that, against the other ones, which I think is a huge advantage. I think it'll bring maybe those golfers that are off-put by that sound, maybe back into the possibly a ping driver. It's a great look down by that golf ball, to be honest, for my eye anyway. I like that little bit more compact head. That's another good strike there, to be honest. Again, very sort of happy with the accuracy side of elements there. Good, solid sort of feel to that as well. So maybe LST is really sort of aimed for that slightly faster golf club swing speed. Somebody who's trying to maybe just get that spin down a little bit more, you've got the help with that. Maybe somebody who likes that more compact look behind that golf ball. You've got to remember these brands are trying to hit different levels and different types of golfers out there, hence why they make multiple models between each of these heads. Okay, another good strike and a very nice ball flight, very controlled ball flight, sort of finding with that. So interesting 3 models there. I think I'm really pleased with Ping that they've not gone massively away from what they've done, which has definitely worked. So for any of you out there that have just bought or recently bought a G440 10K driver, don't worry, that is not going to get changed. That's staying in the range for 2025. So that isn't going to get replaced anytime soon. That's a nice one to finish up on there. So for me, the range of Ping, very solid. G440, I quite like the look of it, to be honest. It's not massively different from the G430, a little bit of a different colourway. The sound, definitely a big thumbs up. That sounds so much better, so much more solid, less loud and abrasive maybe, so to speak. Is it any quicker? I'm going to do a direct video, I think, between the 440 and the G430. That'll be an interesting video. So if you don't want to miss that, then just hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Appreciate your support as always, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.